Hello and welcome to PME's Facebook Live event, the first of 2018. So happy January to you all and a happy new year, although we're a bit late in the month. Now a little bit different this time, you may have already noticed we're in the test kitchen. We're normally downstairs in the classroom, so take it all in, it's looking good. So joining me today, part of the cake crew team if you like, we've got Janet. Now, quite often I'll refer to Janet, but she's actually around about helping me. She's my assistant, aren't you, Jan?
I am.
Don't be shy.
I'm going to be assisting you today.
Yes, so poor old Jan's going to be running all over the show. It was Peter last time, if you remember, he was running up and down, but today it's probably going to be Janet. We've got Carmen as well, who's joined us. She's kind of observing, and of course we've got Pat with those crucial stop-go boards so that we know when we've got a shout-out from everybody. We're actually next door, we've got Samir, who's with Olivia, keeping an eye on everything and passing all your information to us. So as always, wherever you are in the world joining us, whether it's the US, South Africa, Australia, Timbuktu, wherever you are, feel free, type a little message and we'll do our very best to give you a shout out. And Sean, if you're watching at Romford, a very belated shout out to you. It goes way back to when we did the geometrics because he very kindly printed us the sugar sheets. And I totally forgot all about you, Sean, so I'm very sorry. Hopefully we've made up for that now. He's probably laughing to himself as we speak. So, my name's Paula McLeod and I'm going to be taking you through all of these very lovely baking Valentine specials. So also a little bit of non-baking, just in case you haven't got time for that too. So as Peter had said when he put the notification out, we're all whipping up a storm in the kitchen here. Problem is the ovens are on, and the thing is, can we take the pressure? Can we take the heat in the kitchen? And you know what they say about that. So time will tell, because I think I'm already getting hot. So quite soon I'll probably be matching my Valentine top, but we'll see how we get on. So first off, we're going to start off with some cookies and some baking. Now, I've actually got my mix out of the fridge ready to roll shortly, but we're actually going to head over to the mixer and we're going to start with mixing some cookies. And this is where you'll kind of see Jan heading in and out with me as well. So here we go. We've got our ingredients all set up over here at the moment. We've got 14 ounces of self-raising flour. We've got our butter at 7 ounces and our sugar at 7 ounces. We've got an egg, and you've probably spotted a little extra egg yolk there, just in case it needs a little bit of extra moisture. And we've also got some vanilla paste there too. So I'm just going to unhook my mixer, and I'm going to pop my butter and my sugar in. And Jan's just going to hop round so she can keep an eye on the mixer as well. And she's going to do that for me, just while we can then start to move forwards. Got a little bit of butter left in there, so that's not a problem. See the odd little note left around here again. Just a good way of communication with Jan. Now this is where I'm just going to plug in the mixer. And again, Jan's also here just to make sure that we can remember to re-plug the candy in, or else I'll come to the last bit and there'll be no candy to pipe and it'll look a bit silly. So at the moment we're just creaming together the butter and the sugar just a little bit. We might need to scrape it down a smidgen, which is fine. And then as soon as that's happened, we're going to pop some flour and the egg in. So I'm just going to bring it over this way. Are you following, Peter? Are you keeping up? Getting you running around? Sometimes I whack it up a little bit on the speed. That loosens it off the K-beater, and then it kind of starts to beat up a little bit then. So there we go. That's kind of just headed around there a little bit. So this is our speeded up version. So I'm just going to chuck the flour in. Oh, sorry, I think I nearly got you, Jan, there. I chucked it in there. Poor old Jan was in the line of fire there too. So we're bobbing around quite a bit here. So I'm just going to give it a slow little mix together. I don't know if Peter can get in there, Peter. Go on. Get in there with your camera. See your reflection there in the top. So this is where we'll add in that extra egg. If needs be, Jan's also going to add in another little bit of moisture if you need it. Just going to squeeze out some vanilla paste as well, so that's another little bit of liquid. So I'm going to do a teaspoon of that. And you'll find it all just lumps together. Where you go, Peter? There we go. So while that's all mixing together, we're going to give it a few minutes. It's lumping together gradually, as you can see, and we'll come back to it once it's gone into its lumping ball. And we've got a question here as well.
Okay, Paula. It's from Sirocco, and she actually asked, what are you making? So she must have missed you at the beginning.
Did I forget to mention that bit? Yeah, we're doing cookies. I'm just getting an extra bit of egg there ready in case Jan needs it to chuck in there again. She's just going to keep an eye on the mixture. So we're just getting it to that point where it all gathers together into a lump. Just a couple of minutes around there, and Jan's just waxed the speed up a little bit. And it'll all come together, and then we can kind of grab it out of the mixer, and we'll have a nice ball, a lump of cookie dough or biscuit dough. And then we'll be able to roll that out. Now it will need to go and sit in the fridge, probably for about an hour before you can use it. It's better if it chills a little bit.
I'm just going to scrape it down a little bit.
Oh, lovely, yeah, so Dan's just kind of scraping down. And I think Pat's got a little question for us as well, so go for it, Pat.
No, I've actually got a shout out.
Oh, shout out, sorry. Helps if I read the board that you're holding up, doesn't it?
So Charity says hello from Nigeria.
Hello to Nigeria.
And Constance says hi from Holland. And guess where we go next?
Hong Kong.
Hong Kong.
It's Peggy and Joseph, isn't it?
It is Peggy and Joseph.
Blossom cake.
Yes.
Every time without fail, and you're probably all fed up with me mentioning this, but I'm going to say it anyway. Peggy and Joseph Blossom Cake is one of our approved distributors. So it's always great. They're really kind of here, they're supporting PME and everything about it, and just letting basically the whole world know that they are there in Hong Kong. And
well, we've actually got another approved location from Hong
Oh,
Kong.
wonderful.
For you.
Who's that that's joined
in? And that's Calvin.
Calvin, hello Calvin, good to know you're watching.
He says, hello Paula from Hong Kong, Pandora Cake Shop.
Another one of our approved locations. So again, if you're watching, that's 2 approved locations that have jumped in there to say hello. Don't be afraid to communicate with either of them. Say hi. How you getting on over there, Joe?
Yeah, I think it just needs a
bit of right, in that case, I'm going to put some gloves on because I'm going to get into a bit of a mess at this point. And if Peter wants to hop over again, maybe. Sorry, Peter, I'm getting you running around again, aren't I? They're quite tight-fitting gloves, I'm afraid, but I just thought this would be better. So you can kind of see where it's all come together now. And we're just going to unhook that. Scrape these bits off here, off the K-beater. And you kind of see it just needs a little bit of a knead. So I'm just going to lump it together first of all. And I kind of like to do that in the bowl. Punch it round a bit. And you get this lovely kind of dough that you can kind of then scoop out. There you go. That's my gloves squeaking. And there you are. And then that's ready to pop in some cling film and pop into the fridge. Give it a little knead when it comes out. It'll just help it chill and settle. So when it goes into the oven, it'll keep its shape much better as well. And we've used proper butter. That's the other thing that's important to say as well. So I'm going to leave Jan, I'm afraid, just to pop this into some cling film for me. Just have a little swap round if you may. That's perfect. So you can see the cookie dough there. But like I was saying, always use butter, much better to use. I know sometimes we're kind of worried about using a low-fat margarine, but the butter will hold its shape. If you use a low-fat margarine that's got a lot of water in it, your cookies will distort an awful lot. So keep with your butter. It'll have a much better taste, but it'll also keep that shape so much better. So I'm just going to roll out a little bit, and I think we've got a shout out. So while we're doing the shout out, I'm going to roll out on the deepest depth for my cookie, and then I'm going to do a low one. So I'll stop rolling.
Okay.
Yep.
So the first one is from a young lady in Englefield Green who says hi. Her name's Steph. And
hello, sweetie.
and then Carla from Nicaragua. Gemma Wiseman says hi, Paula and Pat.
Gemma, good to hear from you. That's great to know you're watching. Hello.
And Gina Tooley says good morning from North Richland Hills in Texas.
Oh, well, we've got people again from everywhere tuning in. It's really good to know that you're there and watching. And, so thank you.
And Charity, who I'm assuming is a Charity from Nigeria, said, can I know the recipe? I'm only just joined.
Oh, right, yeah, no problem. I can read that out now. It is actually on Cake It online as well, so you can hop online, subscribe, and it's all on there for you to view. But we had, let me run through, I had 1 egg and an extra egg yolk. We had 1 teaspoon of vanilla essence. We had 14 ounces of self-raising flour, and then just half that, 7 ounces of butter and 7 ounces of sugar. Now you're going to probably want to know what that is as far as grams is concerned, and I've written it down because I'm terrible on grams. So that's 200 grams pretty much for the 7 ounces, and double that up for your larger amount. So hopefully that helps. So I've rolled out to the thick one, and I've done that with the little heart shape there. And I've rolled then to a thinner using my spacers so that I get a nice even bake with my cookies. And I'm just going to cut out a heart shape. So give it a little wiggle. And again, you can do also a low one of those. And you can use round or heart-shaped little nesting sets, which are really brilliant. As you can see, we've got a selection of those up here, and this is what I just used to make the jammy dodger that we've got on display. And you'll also see that we've got a little stick into that cookie that's baked there, so we'll do a little bit of more of that later. Meanwhile, Jan very kindly, again racing all over the place, has actually got my tray ready for me. Now what I do with my tray, just to kind of run through so you're aware, is I grab some butter that I've got left on here, for example, like so, and I just pop it onto the tray, give it a good rub down, and then pop a little bit of parchment paper on there. So just get into all your nooks and crannies, there we go. So I always kind of hang on to my butter packs to be able to do that with, and then just pop that on there, and then that's ready for the cookies to go straight on too. But Jan's got some more here for me, so I'm going to swap that for this one. Thinking, what is she doing? These have just been chilling because it is already getting quite hot in here, and that's the reason for that. And we haven't got too many cut out, so I'm just going to place these on. So they're my thicker ones, and that's for the stick to go into. And we're going to place these in the oven, not for very long. Middle shelf, we are preheated, and we've got the right temperature, so we're about 180, I think it is, probably for about 10 or 12 minutes or thereabouts. So at this point in time, I'm just going to shift that tray along over there, and quite soon hopefully the cookies will be coming out. So in the meantime, I was just going to double check with you that you're kind of with me as far as this is concerned. So I've got a little stick into here, and a little bit later on we're going to be doing some little love bugs as well. So these are going to make up the ears, and we're going to dip these in some chocolate as well, which is why they're actually on the stick. Now I've actually just put these in after they're baked, so that's a nice easy way of being able to use the lollipop stick. And this is something that you can very easily cut down to size and length if you need to. So if you've only got a very long lollipop stick, no problem, just cut through that with a pair of your wire cutters. They do the job a treat. So Pat's holding up the shout out board again. Go for it, Pat.
I'm here, Paula. So, hello and a lovely big high five. Paula from Jess in Hong Kong.
Hello, Jess in Hong Kong. Good to hear from you.
And that's Pandora, as I'm sure you know.
Yes.
Are you making cookies?
We are making cookies. That is exactly what we're doing. Yes, and they're smelling good already. And
Abby Ade says good day.
Good day.
At least I'm not sure how you say that, but there was a little asterisk over that. Verity says hi in Plymouth.
Hello, Verity.
And Shanaz Khan says hello from Cape Town.
Cape Town as well.
And Andrea also says hello, but I'm not sure where she's from.
Okay, hello Andrea. Hello everybody. And it's great to know that you're actually tuning in with us as well. It is good to know that you're out there and you're with us. Now while the cookies are baking, I can smell burning, but I don't know why. Very strange. I'm just actually going to prepare the tin for the Swiss roll that we're going to be making. So I'm just going to kind of start to talk you through some of those things that we're going to be doing. So I've got my baking tray again, so I'm just greasing that up. And I'm actually using the same size for everything, so that's a 13 by 9, or if you just have a look there, it's a 33.1, I think it is, by 22.9, but at least that gives you an idea as to what we're using. Now Jan's just keeping an eye on the oven there for me as well, which is a good thing, because I'll probably forget, Jan, if I'm honest. I must be looking quite hot because you're looking quite toasty, Paul. Like I said, I'm going to be matching my top quite soon, but not to worry. So I've got my lining here ready in my baking tray, and I've kind of made it a little bit longer this time. When we did the cookies, they were kind of just inside, but this is going to hold our Swiss roll mix. So make sure you've got enough greasing on here and it's attached. So if not, just add yourself in a little bit of butter. And if you need to, I have got clean hands, so just run in that ridge so that you're kind of where you need to be, and that's all held down nicely and securely. Now, what we're going to do with the Swiss roll is we're going to actually do some hearts and polka dots on there as well. And we've got a question before I move on to that, so fire away then, Pat.
Well, it's actually a question. I think Samir's going to put some information
lovely.
About it.
That's good.
But the question is, you mentioned Cake It.
Yes.
And the lady's asking, it's Leslie Worcester, by the way.
Hello,
and
Leslie.
she says, how do I subscribe? So I think Samir will answer that.
Oh, okay,
but
lovely.
Maybe you...
Yeah, just a bit of info. Yep. So if you want to go on to Cake It, what was it again, Pat? cakeit.education. And you'll be able to subscribe to Cake It, which is a free online magazine that we put together. It's every quarter pretty much, 4 times a year that will come out. Lots of baking ideas, recipes, hints and tips. Lots of competitions you can enter and prizes to win as well. And this is free to you, totally free, and it's online for you to view. So there's no problem. Very easy to stop if you decided you didn't want it either. So that's the best way of getting hold of that. There's a little coupon if you actually had the magazine, which you can pick up from your local stockists. Not everybody has it, but some stockists do. So that's another way you can actually subscribe to Cake It there too. So hopefully that helps. Okay. So I've just been preparing for our Swiss roll, and we're going to have little heart shapes or polka dots all over this, and Peter was showing you that to begin with. I've actually just got some Victoria sponge mix in both of these 2 piping bags, and I think I've used a tube number 7 with gem, just in a disposable, and I've coloured it up with both of these. I've got hot pink here, so for Valentines, making it nice and pink, which is that one in there, and I've got a teddy bear brown, which was the chocolatey looking flavour. You could do a chocolate in there, no problem, if that's what you wanted to do. So while Peter's just doing that, I'm just going to get this prepped. So all I'm going to do is pipe on here a little design, and I think we did talk about probably doing this a little bit earlier and popping it in the freezer ahead of the game, but we didn't, but that's not going to be a problem. I don't think it will just be in the freezer a little bit less time. So ideally, if you want to pop this into the freezer, maybe for about something like half an hour, 20 minutes, we're only going to be doing it for a very quick 10 minutes. But that's okay. We've got one that's kind of already rolled and done, so hopefully it shouldn't be a problem. And we're just keeping it quite small so that we've got time for that to freeze. How's the cookies going, Jan?
They've got a couple more minutes.
Couple more minutes on cookies, everybody, and then they're out. That should time quite well, actually, to be honest. So just a little dotting on here. Now you could make yourself up a template if you wanted to do this, or you could just do what I'm doing and just go with a design that you actually want to do. And I'm just doing some hearts, quite random hearts, followed by the dots. So there we go. And Jan's poised and ready yet again. You're working well, Jan, I must say. And that's just going to hop into the freezer as it is, just for about 10 minutes or thereabouts, or until we're kind of ready to go. It'll probably be a bit longer. Peter's homing in there for you. And that's just a Victoria sponge, coloured up with the hot pink and also with the teddy bear brown. While Jan's doing that, I'm just going to keep an eye on the oven over here. Have a little feel. Yeah, we do need a little bit longer on there, which is fine, because then I'm just going to progress over here ready for the Swiss roll. Pat's holding up the question board, so I know we've got a question headed our way.
I think basically because this is our first baking experience, and you're obviously hopping backwards and forwards, different recipes.
Here we go.
I think many of the viewers would like kind of constant recaps to know exactly what it is you're doing.
What we're up to. Well, first of all, we started off with some cookies, and then we're moving through quickly to some Swiss roll. After we've done Swiss roll, we're then going on to a very, very yummy cheesecake, which is no baking. And then after that, we're going to go on to making a love bug with some little strawberry ladybirds to go with them. I think they're ladybugs? Yeah, something like that. So we've done the cookies, and the cookies at the moment, they're just in the oven baking. And you can get that recipe online on Cake It, or we have run through it, so you can always kind of go back and we can kind of keep recapping on that. Swiss roll is what we're looking at doing at the moment. So we're using the same baking tray that we've been using. And we've just piped some hearts and some polka dots. They're going into the freezer, and then we're going to do the actual Swiss roll mix, and then we're going to pour it all over the top and pop it into the oven. And Jan's helping, just keeping an eye on the oven for me at the moment. Just checking there now. Nearly done, Jan? Nearly there. And in the meantime, we've got another shout out. I think we're very busy today with lots of shout outs and questions and all sorts of things going on.
I'm up and down like a yo-yo.
You are, you're working well, Pat, working well.
Hannah Louise Squire says hello from a very wet Essex.
Oh, that's a shame. Sorry it's wet.
And Sharon Mathewson says hi from Derry in Northern Ireland.
Hello.
Angela Sardou says ciao.
Ciao back.
And Maggie Lamb says hello.
Hello. Good to hear from you all, and good to hear from you, Maggie. Again, Maggie's one of our approved teachers, so it's really good to know that you're watching our progress yet again. I think you said when we met fairly recently, I'm sure it was you I was speaking to, you said you do tend to follow what we're up to, so that's really good to know. So, I'm just preparing over here. Now, I'm going to have to do a double flip with my Swiss roll, because normally we tip it out and then we just roll it, no problem. But my hearts are going to be on that side that I'm rolling up, so they're going to be the wrong way round. So we're just going to flip it and then flip it back again so it's where we need to be. So we're doing a double flip with this. Now, normally I have a slightly damp tea towel, and I roll my tea towel in with my greaseproof, and some people do it a little bit differently. But it's just that how I tend to do. I find it doesn't crack, and it just tends to go better if I have a slightly damp tea towel just underneath. So that's what I've got here ready and waiting. And I've got a little bit of sugar just on my greaseproof so that things don't stick too much as well. And I'll have some more sugar on bits and pieces as we go along as well, and then we'll roll it all up together. So I think the biscuits are nearly ready, so we're bouncing back to biscuits now. Oh yeah, perfect there, Jan. Lovely. I nearly took that off you then, Jan. Did you know that?
You all right?
There we go.
Yeah.
Working well here.
I'm going to turn the...
Lovely. So I'm just going to take one of these. Yeah, that's up to a 180, 200-ish there.
Yeah,
about. Lovely.
200.
So I've just taken out the cookie. I need to make sure that it's the nice deep one. Now this is going to be very hot, and I've lost what I had, which was a bit of kitchen towel. Moved it over to there. There we go. And I'm just going to grab a lollipop stick. Oh, do you know what? That's what... Jan, I did this on purpose so that you can go running to get me a lollipop stick, if you would, please. They're just over on the top there. That's it. Perfect, thanks. I knew Jan would come in handy at some point in time. Bless her.
It's quite a long one. Is that okay?
That's perfect. No, that because I can chop that. Oh, it's a big one as well.
Yeah.
Okay. So it is a big one, but because we've got a nice... No, that's fine, Jan, because we've got a nice deep biscuit. So this is where if you do have quite a wide lollipop stick, make sure that you use your spacer on that deep setting for yourself. So I've just slid that in there, and it's going to stay on there absolutely fine, as you can see. Push it in a little bit further if you need to. Now this hasn't cracked, but if for some reason when you pushed it in it was a little bit big and it started to crack, don't be afraid to just, while it's still hot, push back down on it, and it will seal absolutely fine, so not a problem. Now I can cut that down to size if I need to as well. I'd probably better wait until it's cooled down a little bit, and I'm going to move it down over that way so that I can show that a little bit later on. So you can see that's on there and ready, and you could do it with any particular size that you want. Now the larger cookie maybe this one or this one is actually going to make up the feet of our little love bug later on. But I've got some ready cooled, so that's not a problem. So I'm just going to move these down over this way, and then we'll jump back again to our Swiss roll. You're okay, Jan? Yep, that's lovely. You're right, that's perfect.
And shall I remove the paste?
Cookie dough? Yeah, you can do if you want to, Jan, or it depends if Peter thinks he might want to go back and home in on it at any point in time. Thanks. You're right, oh, Peter's fine, so, yep. If he doesn't want my cookie dough, then yeah, you better have then, Jan. Thank you.
Put that in the fridge.
Lovely, thanks, Jan. Okay, so it's a little bit different here today, really. So, hopping back again to the Swiss roll, we're all over the show, aren't we, today? And that's the fun, I think, of being able to be in the test kitchen. And it's great because you get a little insight into what we actually get up to upstairs on this level. Next door we've got the office, who have been sworn to being very quiet, so normally they're a rowdy bunch in there. So, biscuits are out, we can now start on our Swiss roll. I have got everything pretty prepared as much as I need to. I did have my tin ready, I think, but in the meantime, Jan's just getting ready with the mixer and the whisk there for me. So, I think I've lost my tray that we had ready. I don't know where that's gone. So again, just going to butter up another one. Not a problem. Sorry, Peter, I've just removed it. You were just honing in on that, weren't you? There we go. So we went through the size of the tray as well, which is great to know. So again, in case you need to know, that's a 13 by 9. And Peter's just showing you what you need there.
Your Swiss roll tin,
that's what I've just twigged,
yes.
Yeah.
You need it now?
No, we're all right. I'm just going through the prepping just in case anybody's missed it, yeah. So it's all ready to roll. So that's as it would be. But yeah, thanks, Jan. It's going well, isn't it? So we're actually going to make the Swiss roll now. Oh, poor Jan, what she has to put up with me. Okay, so Peter may want to help over this way. I'm not sure. So here we've got our ingredients. So we've got our 3 eggs, and we've got 3 ounces of sugar. Now you can use caster sugar. I'm just being lazy and using ordinary, but I find it does do the job nicely, but you can always use caster if you prefer. And 3 ounces of flour there as well, and that's plain flour, ready to go. So we're going to mix up the eggs and the sugar first of all. And this is where Jan's coming in again. Oh, she's clearing up well. It's like a whirlwind behind me, there she is. So I've got my whisk attachment on my mixer, and I'm going to whack it up onto a number 5. So it's going to get a bit noisy, and it'll be about 5 minutes thereabouts, and we're going to keep that whizzing round in there up until we start to see some streaks in the actual mix itself. And then I'm going to be folding in my flour, so pre-sift it, which is always a good thing to do, not necessarily to make it finer so much as that if there's any foreign bodies in there as well, it always makes sure that it's not in there. So if anything untoward's fallen in, remember if you sift things through, you'll always make sure that they're removed. So it's good practice there as well, just when you're in the kitchen. So while that's working, we've all got a question. That's good timing, Pat, because I needed to fill a few minutes.
Well, I've actually not only got a question, I've got some shout-outs as well.
Perfect stuff.
So I was kind of waiting for a moment.
Oh, you've got that moment.
So this is a question from Carla, and it goes back to the cookies, and she says, what is better? Put the stick inside the cookie before it goes in the oven, or do it after, like you did?
Well, if you were going to put it in the oven, they'd have to be able to be baked at high temperatures. So lollipop sticks, if they can't be baked, put them in afterwards. So read the packet and read the instructions. For some reason I'm looking at Pat's phone. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm not looking at you. I'm sorry. It's one of those days, isn't it? Yeah, I know. So definitely check the packets. I've put in ours afterwards because I know they won't be able to go at those temperatures. So think carefully and read the packet first of all. Depends on what the coating is on the actual stick and what you tend to use it for. Hopefully that helps.
Okay. To do my shout-out?
Oh yes, I've forgotten about that.
So first of all, this is Rosabel Salas. She says hello from Costa Rica.
Hello.
And then Leila Lopez says hello from Venezuela.
Hello, Venezuela.
No,
Oh,
hold on a minute.
there's more.
Yep, but she's currently living in Greece.
Oh,
And she
very
did
nice.
her master's at PME, and I feel so proud of it. Love it. It changed my life.
That is really good to know, and we're pleased that you enjoyed it so much. And if anybody else is listening, just hear that, because that could be you as well with a life-changing experience, just because you took your PME Masters. There you go.
I'm still going.
Oh, you're still going. We get used to that, don't we, Janet?
And this is from Bootcom, who says hello from Canada.
Hello.
And Karen says hello, I'm watching from South Africa.
Oh, that is brilliant. Everybody everywhere, again, just tuning in and watching us, bombing around the kitchen. Jan, Pat, Peter, myself, Carmen thinking, oh my God, what have I done? Okay, so here we are. How are we doing, Jan? Looking good. Do you want to have a little look, Peter? So you can get an idea. So we're aiming to get kind of lines going through. Let me just stop it for a minute so you can kind of get an idea how that's looking. So it's all frothed up now, much thicker, quite aerated. I'm going to pop that back in for another minute. We're nearly there. There we go. So it won't be much longer at all. So we're prepared over here. We're going to do some double flipping as well, remember? If I can manage to do it and remember to do it. Otherwise your hearts and your polka dots will be the wrong way round and it won't look good for Valentine and you'll be, well, looking bad for Valentine. Okay, that looks good now. Do you want to have a quick look, Peter? Just in there. There you go. Lovely and fluffy. See? Looking up some cake mix. Yep, there we go. So we're just going to fold in some flour. So if I start with a spoon of it first of all, just kind of fold that in. So I'm using a large spoon, nice metal spoon, so I can get a really good stir in underneath. And we're just kind of folding it in. Keep the air in the mix as much as we possibly can. And Jan's just remembered to go and get our hearts and polka dots, which remember are in the freezer. There we are, we just pop the rest in there. And they've been done in Victoria mix, Victoria sponge mix. And we coloured it up with some hot pink and some teddy bear brown. And then we're going to pour this over the mix. Yeah, that's fine, Jen, sorry. She's staring, waiting for my instructions, bless her. Is it? Can't say I've noticed, Janet, you know.
As long as possible.
Yeah, it is very warm in here already. And obviously this is where we do all the testing in here as well, so quite often we do get quite hot in here, don't we, Janet? There we go. So we're just going to pour that in here. There we go, lovely. Yeah, that's perfect. So I'm just going to pour that along the tin, like so. Scoop all my mix out and then spread it into the corners as we go. There we are. So just into the corners there. Now this won't take long at all. So you don't want to move it around too much. There we go. And the oven's whacked up to the right temperature.
It is.
Don't lose your mix out of there, so quick removal and straight into the oven ready. Just push that back a little bit, there we go. And that's going to be baking. We're on now nearly 200, so about 180, 200 there. And that's us getting ready to go. Oh, got a shout out again. Go for it, Pat.
Determined to make me work this afternoon.
Well, we want you roasting as well, not just us.
So, first of all, Deborah Forcher says, hello, lovely ladies, from Spencer, Massachusetts, USA.
Oh, lovely. Lots of US ladies and people. Yes, that's good.
And another one, actually, from the US. Mikhail Parks says, watching from Muskogee. I'm not sure if that's how you say it, but it's in Oklahoma.
Oh, lovely. Hello.
Then we come back home Jim Blake, I'm watching. Oh no, not Jim, it's Jill. Sorry.
Jill.
Sorry, Jill. Jill
What is
Blake.
that like?
I'm from Gosport, Hampshire, and she sends you a kiss.
Kiss back.
Sue Peters from Gosport says hello.
Hello.
And now this last one you'll know and love. Tony Warren says hello from Abergavenny.
Hello, Tony.
Which is Wales, by the way.
How are you? Good to know that you're watching. As you can see, nothing's changed. We're all still here. Tony, bless him, used to work with this, but he lived many miles away in the place that Pat mentioned. And I'm not going to try and say that now. So I hope you're tuning in and I hope you're enjoying it and I hope you're keeping well too. So, while the Swiss roll's in the oven, and before we get that out and do our double flipping, I'm just going to run through the heart. Now, at the beginning, Peter showed you two variations as a Swiss roll, if you remember. One had hearts, and it wasn't so tight, and the other one was a very tight one. So we thought we'd go through the variation with the hearts in the middle, because it's all Valentine-y, and we're getting all loved up here at PME, so we thought that would be nice. So, I'm just going to give you the rundown on how to do the centre. So, I prepared a Victoria sponge mix, some of which I'd prepared for our piping bags to pipe those little hearts and polka dots on. And then all I've done, and I used the same tray that we've been using so far, and then I've just got one of those hearts from the nesting set, and I'm just going to push into it. I haven't worried about shaving off the top of the actual crust from there at all, so just push in to the base as much as you can do, and then you can see you've got your heart shape, and just give that a little push through. I've got them all lined up here ready, so depending on how deep your sponge is, you may have to do fewer or more heart shapes to create your little heart tunnel, if you like. And then I'm just going to take off the little edging along there, and I think it's the only reason I do it this way is because it saves me having to do the whole of it, to be honest. But plus the fact, if you want to use your crust for a bit of cake pop mix, then you can do, and you could do some little cake pops as well. We're not doing those, by the way, today. And then that gives us our little heart shapes. And then I'm just going to use a little bit of buttercream just to attach it to the existing ones that we've got here. So I'm just going to remove them. If they've kind of loosened up a bit, just re-stick them. So in true Blue Peter style, I've had them pre-done. I did try to stop things drying out, but it is inevitable as it gets hotter. Do you know what? I totally didn't even check the oven time when it went in, Janet. Did you?
Yeah.
It's a good job you did, because I didn't.
It's got about 7 minutes.
Oh, that's okay. No rush then, that's good. So I've got my buttercream here. Try and make it so that it's a very similar colour to the actual sponge that you've got there. And again, I've done hot pink here, so it's nice and vibrant. And then just liberally onto the heart. Yummy, yummy. There we go. And then that's just sandwiched in position and ready to go. There we are. And that's going to make up the inside of our Swiss roll. So I'm just going to cut one more, just in case it isn't going to be big enough. And you could do this multicoloured, which I think would be really, really nice, instead of just a pink all the way through. So there we go, just a little bit off the heart one side and then the other. There we go, so that's just taken the cooked top off there. And that's ready to go. So again, it's a nice little idea, slightly different take on a Swiss roll. Very easy to do, doesn't take long to make, so there's no excuses here. None of these, I haven't got time. We've all got time to make a Swiss roll. At this point, if my husband's watching, he's saying, that's not what you said at the weekend when it came to it. There we go. So that's our centre ready. I'm just going to check on the Swiss roll. I'm going to put the light on so Peter can have a little look and see how it's going there. So not too much longer. What do you make it time-wise, Jan?
I'll still make it about another 5 minutes.
About another 5 minutes on there. Okay, so while we're waiting for that, and if you've just joined us, I'm just going to recap that we've been doing some cookies earlier on, and they've come out the oven, and Peter's just showing you those now. So we use the nesting sets again. We've just used them for the hearts here, and we've just cut out some different biscuit shapes. So simple jammy dodger using the round and heart shape if that's what you want to do. And the other thing we've done, we've actually used a lollipop stick which we pushed in afterwards, and that was so that we can then have these little antenna ears for our little love bugs, which we're going to do afterwards. And when you do those, make sure that you're using your space on that deeper setting so the stick fits in all okay there. And Pat's just got a shout out while we're waiting for our Swiss rolls. That's good timing. That can go if you like, Jan, lovely, thank you. Smashing job, Jan. There we go. Yep, lovely, thank you.
So we okay?
Yep, we're all good, Pat.
Okay,
Yep.
so we're still travelling the world here, Paula.
That's good.
So we start off in Puerto Rico with a lovely hello, and says Caroline de Leon says she's watching, saying that's Puerto Rico. And then Elsie Flaudet says hi from Madrid.
Hello.
And then Colleen Gimby says good day from Broome in northwestern Australia.
Was that meant to be in Australia?
That was as good. Well, you go for it. You do your
Good day.
good day.
I don't think it was any better.
I'm sorry, Colleen.
Yeah, we're sorry.
Constanza says hi from Elizabeth, New Jersey. So that's USA. We've gone back to
brilliant.
USA.
All over again, everywhere. We're absolutely everywhere.
And then Sandy Hoskins says
Sandy,
hi,
hello.
Paula, looking good. And
she
sends you a lovely smiley face and a big kiss.
Lots of kisses and smiley face back. Good to know you're watching. Hope you're keeping well. Okay, so I'm just checking I've got my buttercream ready as well for when our Swiss roll comes out. I've got one in the fridge which is cooled down, which Jan is actually going to be running to get at the same time that she's kind of running up and down doing other things. So while you're kind of waiting for all these things to happen, make sure you've got your filling. Now mine's buttercream, but obviously you could have all sorts of a filling going inside your Swiss roll. And I'm just going to liberally smother that all over the Swiss roll when it's unravelled and unrolled. And then we're going to position our little kind of caterpillar of hearts, if you like, into the centre. Now I don't think it's going to be too much longer before that's ready. Jan's looking anxious, she's saying it's a few more minutes. I think she's a bit concerned that it's a few more minutes. But that doesn't matter because I'm going to run through what we've got ready for the Swiss roll because it is a double flip. So I've got a slightly damp tea towel ready, only very slightly damp, and I roll that up with my grease proof when it comes to it. And I like to do that just because I feel it keeps it a lot moister, stops it cracking, and also I find it kind of takes over from where the filling would be. So if you've rolled it very tight, it allows for a bit of filling to go inside there. I've got myself a rack because of the double flipping. May or may not use that. That's to be finding out soon, isn't it, Jan? I was having a chat about that. I've got some grease proof with a bit of sugar on there just to stop things sticking. And I've got a second piece of grease proof with some sugar on there to help stop that sticking as well. So everything's where it needs to be. I am just waiting on my Swiss roll, which seems to be taking longer than I'd have anticipated. So we'll have a check now. And there's no harm, Peter, if you want to just hop over here again. I'll put the light on for you and you can just have a look and see how that's going. Oh, yeah, we're just starting to come away from the edges, if you can just see that there. So we'll give it a little bit longer and then we're nearly there. It's looking good in there, actually. Nice clean oven, please, if everybody can take notes of that. I did clean my oven. That buttercream can probably go, actually, thanks Jan as well. Now, next thing, I think we could maybe start to talk and move on a little bit longer. Even though we've got the Swiss roll coming out quite soon, I do just want to kind of start looking at the cheesecake over here. I'm going to be using one of the heart-shaped tins of ours, so no baking involved here. And this cheesecake recipe is actually one that Jan brought in, which I really like. So we've kind of adapted and twisted it around a little bit. And we've also done some mini ones that Peter was showing you earlier. So whether that's in the fairy tin or the muffin tin or even in the little kind of like mini oblong tin as well. Any of these things will do great. Pat's got another shout out as well. So while Pat's doing that, I'm actually going to get some cling film out ready to start lining this tin.
Okay.
Yep.
So first of all, Kat Natalie, great to see you from Southampton. And she says it's also Hampshire and a couple of lovely kisses.
Lovely, lots of kisses back.
Judy Frazen says hi from Saskatchewan in Canada.
Oh wow, Canada as well.
Yeah.
It's really, really good.
Kelly Scott's Heart says hello from Brighton, Ontario, and we're still in Canada.
That's good to know.
And then we come back to the glorious UK with Kathleen Smith says hello from Manchester.
Lovely. Well, that's really, really good to know that everybody's watching, and as always, we really hope that there's going to be some really good information, some useful hints and tips for you, and things that you'll be able to try out. Don't forget, if you want to send in photos of anything you've done, that would be great to see. We can have them on Facebook, etc. Or even if you just want to email them in and just show us what you've done and you don't want to put them on Facebook for us, that's absolutely not a problem at all. But it's really good to know just what you're all up to, and it's always good to know that you're there supporting us, so thank you.
I think it's
Jan's
possibly
just
news that
right, so if you want to pinch that Jan, yeah, so let's have a quick look, Peter, let's drag you over here. And yes, I think we're good to go. Oh yeah, that's lovely, thanks Jan. So here we go. And it's singing. If you need to know something's cooked, if it sings to you, it's cooked. Right, so we're going to do a little bit of a double flip here. I wasn't near enough, but here we go. So flip once. There we go. And just loosen everything off. There we go. Oh, ow, it is hot, so be careful. Ow, ow, ow. Ow, ow. Now, I tend not to trim these because I don't like them to cool down on me too much, so I trim afterwards. There we go. So you can see all our hearts are on there, and this is where we need to do, oh, that was cool, a little bit of a double flip. Watch yourself, Peter, coming in. There we go. Need the tin again. I'm going to pinch this one. Sounds like, what is she doing? There we go.
finished with the oven now,
I think I have actually, Jan. Yep, thank you.
turn it off.
Yeah, that'd be lovely. Cheers. So there we go. You can see we've got a double flip that we've done. Just going to get rid of that off there. Put it onto my damp tea towel. There we go. I'm sure at home you'll be able to do that probably a lot more gracefully than what I've just been doing. But there we go. And where we need to be now. So when I roll, my hearts are going to be on the outside. So you want to make sure you don't see your hearts, and you also want to make sure that you're the short side towards you as well. So I'm just going to put a little bit of a crease with the knife into there, and then take the whole thing nice and tight and roll up nice and tight, okay? And keep rolling, 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 like there is a song about it, and that's then ready to go into the fridge and cool down a little bit, which Jan's going to be able to do for me, at the same time running to go and get the other Swiss roll that's also ready too. There we go. So as always, just be careful that you don't kind of burn yourself when you're kind of handling all those bits and pieces, etc. There we are. So quick tidy up as we go. Just chucking that over there for Jan. So if you just, oh yeah, that's lovely, thanks Jan. Jan is presenting the cooled Swiss roll, very beautifully presented there. So we're just going to unravel. This is one that was done just before, and as you can see it's nice and chilled, so we're just going to unravel as we go. There we are, and I did this one nice and tight as well, just to give you the benefit of being able to see it unrolled, etc. So there we go, nice and tight because of that little cut that we did into there. Okay, so Peter's just homing in on there before we begin. I'm going to move the tea towel out of the way now because we don't really need that anymore. I will leave it on my paper just if I kind of need to move that around. So I've got my buttercream ready, and again that's going to be your choice of filling going in on there. And I've just used my other palette knife, but I'm just going to load it up on there first of all. So this is chilled, so it's been in there since, when did we do this one, Jan? Was that about 11ish?
Yeah, it was about, yeah, just before lunch.
Yeah. So not long ago. There we go. And swap palette knives, I think, because I'm going to get more on this palette knife, much easier. There we go. So I'm putting quite a large amount on here, just going up to the edges, and like I say, I'm trimming afterwards. So do not worry. If you're thinking she hasn't trimmed the Swiss roll, that's been deliberate. So how are you doing, Peter? You all right there? You're very quiet.
Okay. Watching the master at work.
Oh, okay. Don't speak too soon. There we go. Right, so we're just smoothing that round. So I'm going to squeeze a bit into there. Okay, so we're just going through. I'm going to speed up as much as we possibly can because we're watching time too. So I've pushed all that buttercream in there as well. And then we're going to transfer our heart over. So we're just going to turn it upside down, like so. And then you can see we can just push one side. If I flip it round that way, and as we kind of just ease it along, there we go, give it a little push. And I've just gone up to that edge, and then we're just doing the same thing all the way along. So it's quite flexible, as you can see, which is how we need it to be. And then you can either lift your paper and push, and that doesn't matter if you've got some buttercream oozes out, that's going to look really nice. And you've got some excess hearts, and that's also fine too. And then normally I'm going to leave that to chill back into the fridge, and then that's going to be ready to do some trimming just to kind of beautify the end of it. But I'm going to leave it to set first of all, but you can kind of see already that's looking, I hope, quite nice on there and pretty good. So by the time we've sliced through there, that'll be good, but it does do it better once it's chilled. So I'm just going to give this back to Jan to pop into the fridge again, just so that then the buttercream's a little bit chilled. Okay. You're going to be okay with that one?
Yeah, that's fine.
And everybody can see the hearts and everything on there then when that comes back out, which is great. So we're going to hop back to the cheesecake. So if you've just joined us, we've done biscuits today and cookies. We've just shown you the Swiss roll with some hearts and polka dots on, which hopefully you did get a good view of that, how to achieve that too. And then we're moving on to a cheesecake, which is very easy to do and no baking involved. So a little bit earlier on when I was filling some time, I just popped some cling film in there, and I've done about 3 layers in there. That's just to make sure that it's a good thing to be able to get hold of to lift it out. And we're going to do the base, and we're going to do the centre, and then we're going to do some decorating on there as well. So first off, we've got over here ready, and Peter may have to start moving around again. So here we go. So we've got in here digestive biscuits, and they're already smashed and crushed up, as you can see. Now I think I did probably about 12 biscuits in the end on here, and probably about 60 grams of butter to go with that. This is the butter that I've got here. I forgot to ask Jan to pop that on. That's my mistake, Jan, because I forgot to ask you to just heat it up a little bit. So much going on, we're working well here, loads happening. Now into this base mix, we're actually also going to put some lovely fudge bits too, because it makes it really, really yummy. But you could quite easily pop in there for yourself also some chocolate chip or something like that. And this is a recipe that Jan has done quite a bit, and I think you've said that you've considered it, or you have done it maybe as well. I'm not too sure.
I have.
She has put chocolate chip in there as well. So that's pretty yummy. So basically anything that you fancy you could also put in the bottom. Not too much of it, so that it still combines really, really well. Now that won't take too long. That's already melting over there, which is wonderful to know. Meanwhile, over here, just while we are waiting on the base butter to do a bit of melting, we'll talk you through also the centre. Now for that we're going to need to have, and Jan's now just headed off that way, we've got some double cream and we've got some mascarpone cheese as well, so that's all coming out too, and we're going to whip that up in the mixing bowl ready to go from there. So while that's happening, I'm just now kind of keeping an eye over here. That's nearly ready. Butter's melting beautifully. Thank you, Jan. Jan's just getting the bowl ready. And we're going to add in the cream, which is 420 mils of cream. So get that in there. There it goes. There we go. And our sugar as well. And that's 70 grams of sugar. That's just going in there. And A little bit of vanilla, again, essence in there. So a teaspoon of that going in, there it goes. There we go, and just chucking it in, and then we're going to whip it up, so it's going to get noisy again. Are you ready, Peter? Number 5 I'm whisking on. Oh, hang on, the candy's plugged in, so there we go. Number 5. Lovely, butter is melted, thank you, Jan. Yep, that's perfect. So I'm just going to bring the butter over, pop it in there, and give it a little stir round. There we go. So you can see that all coming together. Thanks, Peter. Jan's just keeping an eye on our filling, which is the double cream. So that's 420 mils of cream, teaspoon of vanilla essence, and some sugar, 70 grams of sugar. Really quick and easy. I'm just going to chuck some of these in here. Just sprinkle a few of those in so it's extra yummy. And then we can come over to the base. And, oops, lazy. I've lost Peter, look, there we go. So I'm just headed over to the base. There we go. Peter's hot on my tail. He's catching up with me. There we go. You're noisy, aren't you? Jan's being noisy in the background there. But she's also being a huge help. There we go. So I think we're just plugging in at the moment, so if you're kind of wondering what we're up to, I'll bring you back up to speed with where we're at. I think we're back now, that's good. So I've just poured the crumb mix into the bottom there, and I'm just giving it a little push with the back of my spoon, so it's nice and firm in the base and all the way up to the edge. So I think we were just getting a little bit low on battery, so we've just kind of sorted that now, so we're back where we need to be. So thank you for staying with us and thinking they're acting a little bit strange there. Well, we were a little bit strange, but then it has been said before. So at the moment, Jan is just whipping up the centre, and I'm just pushing that base in there so it's nice and smooth. Do you want to get a shot of that, Peter? Just so everybody can see what we've done. So lovely and smooth into the bottom there. We've got the cling film in. I've done a few layers, so it's nice and easy to remove if we need to. I've got some fudge bits in there as well, so it's even extra yummy when it comes to it. All looking good. How are you doing, Jan? I was a bit marked. I was doing it a bit more than that, actually. That could have been wrong, but meanwhile, while we're just beating that up just a little bit more, so you've got some ribbon strings going through that as well. A bit like what we did with Swiss roll. Now we've got mascarpone cheese, so probably about, for this size, about 3/4 of a tub that you can get. And we're going to put some lemon in there. Now I've got some lemon ready, and I've used some fresh lemon. I'm just going to add to it, make sure I've got enough. Now if you need to and you haven't got a juicer, you can actually roll it a little bit on the work surface, and that breaks it all up, and then it just helps the juice flow if that's what you need to do. Just give it a little squeeze. I've got plenty in there. Obviously you can just buy it in a pot and use it, but it's nice, it's lovely. A bit obsessed with lemons at the moment, with lemon curd. We're making lemon curd recently, and we've been making some of that, and we do love it. And actually there's a little thing that if you wanted to, you could actually put some lemon curd through this when you're kind of placing it into your tin that you've got prepared. So I'm just going to mix my lemon juice in with my mascarpone cheese. How are you doing there, Jan?
I think that's done.
Yep, lovely. So this will give it a lovely flavour, and that will kind of react with it and get it to a nice texture that we need. So there we go. I sometimes put a little bit of extra lemon. What do you think, Jan?
I do as well.
Let's be naughty, shall we?
Let's.
For Valentines, we'll be naughty and put extra lemon in. Let's do it. I must say, Jan, you're looking very flushed at the moment.
I keep looking at you thinking, oh, it's my face. They're just poolers.
We're getting really hot in the kitchen here, by the way, so we're glowing. So I'm just going to put a little bit of the cream mixture that Jan got ready kindly. Thank you, Jan. Just popping that into there. Probably about 1/3 of that going in. And just give it a general mix in, fold in together, and then you can put all of that into the cream that you've got. Just helps it mix in a little bit easier. So again, very easy to do, very simple recipe to do. I think it's great actually, it's wonderful. You can see it kind of changing texture there, looking good. So that's what you need to happen. Scrape that into there. There we are. All that out there. And then just give that a mix in. There we go. And then that's all going to pour into our ready base. Just going to use this spoon here, it's got caught up into the big spoon. Scrape that around so we don't miss any. There we go. Now if you want to, you could actually even put some extra yummy stuff in here as well. So we've got some lovely other sprinkles and gourmet bits and pieces. You could actually add some of these in. So I'm going to chuck a few of those in because I think that could just be nice. That's some of the chocolate coated coffee beans, in they go. I think that will taste great. So, and then we're going to pour that into here. Now ideally I would chill this probably for about half an hour or an hour in the fridge, but we're speeding things up a little bit. So we're going to pop it into the freezer, all of it together. So if you're at home and you've got time, just do one bit and then the other. So that should be okay. It's most of that out of the way. Grab another spoon, because that's a little bit smaller and a little bit easier to go with. There we go. So smooth that in. Like I said, I've used probably 2 layers, maybe 3 of the cling film, just so that it's nice and strong for when I lift it out of the tin. And if you've got extra mixture, you can just smooth that out across the top really beautifully. And again, Jan's going to go running off down to the fridge or the freezer, pop that in for me, and return with another one that we've got ready. Fridge. Thanks, Jan. So I'm just going to move that out of the way. And then we're going to start to look at the topping as well, which is the cream, which Jan's also going to be bringing out with her for the sauce. So we've got some toffees that are sitting here. I've popped them in wax paper because otherwise they stick to the glass jar, so you can just see it's much easier. And here we've got our frozen chilled heart shape all ready to go. And Jan's got the cream, she's wandering around. She was trying to be very subtle. So we're going to put these, very, very easy toffee sauce. Pat was impressed when she found out the recipe for this, weren't you, Pat?
I was indeed.
Yep, she was very happy. 100 mils of cream there. And my toffees. How many toffees have we got? About 250 grams of toffee, I think, going in there. And we're just going to heat that up and stir it as it starts to heat up. We've also got one on the go that Jan's actually just got ready, so that while this one is on the go, we don't have to wait for it. There we go. So a little bit of a stir once that's ready, and I think Jan's ready at the moment as well. And then we can do a little bit of yummy decorating over this way. Peter doesn't know where to go. He's all over the show, bless him. Really sorry, Peter. Move my little note. I left myself to do a shout out for Sean earlier as well. So hopefully you're all going to very quickly rush out and do some cheesecakes on Valentine's Day. How's the sauce doing, Jan?
It's a little bit stiff.
Oh, okay. In that case, we'll return back to this one as well. Okay. So, as I was saying earlier as well, if I just drag that tin out, we've actually got some little mini ones that we've done, and we've used the little mini round tin, the large muffin tin, and also the little kind of mini loaf tins there as well. And they make great little individual desserts as well. And Pat's also got a shout out, so while we're just keeping an eye on the toffee, we've got another shout out.
I'm on my way.
Everybody's running around everywhere.
Yeah, I haven't nodded off.
No, okay, Pat.
Melinda Jackson says, hi,
Hello.
want to say thanks for my prize the other month.
Oh, isn't that lovely?
So I'm not sure if that's a cake it prize,
Sounds like it
whether,
might be.
whether she entered the competition, or maybe she sent in some photographs that were featured on the reader's page.
It could be. So either way, she's happy with what she's gained from doing that. So
She is indeed, and
lovely.
thank you for being part of it.
That's great, yeah.
And Andrea Bonus says hello from Kent, and she sends you a big loving smiling face.
That's really nice.
And Bernice says, I love to look what you do. I'm from Harris Smith in South Africa.
That's great.
And another one from South Africa, this is from Baker's Boutique, saying hello from South Africa, and that's from Nazir.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
Yeah, lovely.
And also Blessed Queen says hello from Peterborough.
Oh, hello.
And we're back to Canada with Evelyn, who says hi from Ottawa.
Oh, that's really, really great. Again, everybody from everywhere is joining in, and it's really good to know. Now, Jan's just softened me up some toffee. It is still a little bit too thick, and I was trying to kind of get it to do a little bit of a drizzle over here, so it looks really lovely and yummy, but it is a little bit thick still. She's been trying to warm it up for me. Meanwhile, how's the toffee doing? They've all glued together.
I think maybe if we add a little bit of this.
Into that, go for it, Jan. There we go. That could do the job. Right, there we go. So we just thinned it down a bit, and that's doing the job lovely. Look, a little bit of cheating going on. Nothing wrong with that.
Is that all right?
We all have to do it a little bit more, actually. Jan would be great. Sorry, Peter. I saw that look. I saw that look. It's okay. You've got lots to focus on while I'm running around. You didn't think I saw that. You pulled a face. Well, that's better, isn't it? Look, so we just added a little bit of cream. Jan, thinking on her feet like you have to, just thought that would do the... Oh, that's so much... Oh, Jan, that's great. God, you've been a good help today, Nina. Could be making a rod for your own back, though, you never know. There we go. So that's just across the top, which looks absolutely lovely. Jan's just actually cooked up that toffee over there, so Peter can have a little look now at how that's going, perhaps. I'm just adding a few more bits of drizzle over here, but then it just gives everybody a bit of a view on how that'll be looking if they're doing it themselves at home, which hopefully they will.
Yeah, I think where it was so warm in here, all the toffee had
It's
gone
just
together.
bloomed,
Yeah.
And normally you just take it out the wrappers, which we had to do, and pop it straight in, and it would all be broken up, so it would be much easier for it to mix in with the cream, and away it goes. And that's all it is. It's just 100 mils of cream and 250 grams of toffee. So if you're like me and you don't like toffees, maybe in Quality Street, save them all, and then you can use them for your toffee sauce. Job done. So I'm just going to also add in some of my chocolate-coated coffee beans on here, nice and luxurious there, and some extra fudge because that's really yummy. So sprinkle that all around onto there as well. And then some of these lovely little gold nuggets. So they're golden honeycomb nuggets. So I'm just going to sprinkle them for that extra little bit of loveliness going on over there. There we go. And I'm also going to pipe in a minute, just on the top here, a little swirl of some leftover filling and mix. And into the top of that, I'm then going to put a little chocolate heart that we had done, that we made with some candy a little bit earlier. And Jan's just running again. Lovely, perfect. Jan, would you be able to grab the hearts as well? Thanks. And then the ladybirds as well. Thank you. Poor old Janet, she's been running around everywhere. So we'll just move that over to one side. So I've just popped a piping tube in there. It's just a 1M, I think it is. And I'm just going to pop a little swirl. So it is quite chilled, but it needed to be. There we go, yummy. In the middle there.
Do you want the finished ones as well, or just...
I'll go with this one first, Jan, if that's okay. And it doesn't matter if everybody then sees what else is on the way in a minute. So we've just...
there?
Yeah, that's lovely. Thanks, Jan. So we've just got a little heart, so that's going to sit into there ready. And then we're going to lift this out. And hopefully this will come out all okay. So I'm hoping this will do the job. Jan, I might need you just to hold the base, if you could. Sometimes it's handy to have an extra pair of hands. That's perfect, lovely, thank you. So just give it a little bit of a wiggle there too. There we go, I'll try and go in the middle. There we are, that's lovely. So that's nicely set, so just peel away the cling film. There we go. It does get a bit slippy slidey with the cling film and the toffee that's on there. So just slide underneath there with your palette knife or with your hands. And I'm just going to pop that onto the tray there. Lose that out of the way too. And then we're ready to kind of look at the side. Now if you need to, and you think you kind of need to neaten up the side a little bit, you don't have to. But if you've got any spare leftover cream, you can just add a little bit in onto there and then just slide it round a little bit to finish it off if you want to. You don't have to. And I think it looks quite nice, a little bit kind of rough and ready. But at the same time, if you want an extra little bit, any gaps in there filling around, just fly around there with your side scraper to just finish that off a little bit for yourself. Now, on the finished item, I don't think we actually put the little ladybirds on there in the end, but that's what we're going to look at next. So if you have a little look here, and I'm just going to trim off their little ends so that you've got the proper little ladybirds all lined up. These little things are going to be going on to our cheesecake because they're fun and they're easy to do and they're just romantic and they love each other. So we've got one little ladybird, so we're going to put one up on there, and we've got one that's just part way done. So I'm just going to run you through how we've managed to do that, and it's very, very simple. And I've got my candy on the go over here, so that's some black candy that I've melted up. Just give it a little stir to bring it back round. And I just did a little bit of piping onto some wax paper, and I would recommend putting the strawberries on a little bit of kitchen towel just to make sure that that's as it needs to be. Any juices that can kind of come out, they can come straight up onto there. So I've just piped some lines, as you can see, and I've got a spare one there ready, and I've got this little strawberry here. He's been kind of like ready and waiting, and I'm just going to transfer him so he's a bit easier to see. And it looks a bit neater and a bit tidier too. There we go. And that's his little ear. And I'm just going to pop that there. Ready. There we go. So I've got a pair of tweezers which are quite handy. Now I've had him in the fridge as well, so he's nice and cold. So by the time I've dipped his little dried antenna into there and onto there, that will do the job and it will stick very easily. I've got some parchment. So I've got a bag ready, and I'm just going to put a little bit of candy in here and pipe a little line just down the centre. I don't need very much. Jan's poised with extra sauce as well, so if you think we need any extra on there, just feel free. No, you're quite happy there, Jan? Okay, yep, that would be good actually. I know again we're hopping around. We've gone from biscuits to Swiss roll to a cheesecake to ladybirds. There we go. So I'm just going to snip the end off, and it's just parchment bag. You can use whatever you want to. Don't know if that's going to be enough off there. Only a very small amount. Just need to do a little bit more. Don't want to do too much. There we go, that's enough. So just going to pipe a little line. You right there, Peter? And then just a few little dots to make up the little spots. But this is a really fun, really easy, simple, quick little idea to do. And then we've got the little antenna. So pre-dried, just piped onto a little bit of wax paper. Just going to dip in a little bit of candy and then hold it in position for a few minutes. Doesn't matter if it's a little bit wonky. So just give it a few seconds. Oh, there we go. And it kind of instantly kind of attaches. I'm going to use a paintbrush. You're right, Jan. Just using a little bit of white, which I'm going to give a stir. There we are. It's been sitting there for a little while now. So just dip a little bit of white in there. And just, that's all you need to do. And then over the top with a little dot from the bag. Now I can't see how his eye is upside down. There we go. Hopefully I haven't got in the way too much. And then he's ready to join his little friend. just on the top over here on the cheesecake. I'm going to eat that. There we go. So that's those two little efforts done. And again, don't forget with your Swiss roll, you can kind of drizzle any of these and add the strawberries all over those, which is absolutely yummy, yummy. And we are shout out at the moment as well. And the last thing that we're moving on to now, as we're speeding everything up, is our little love bugs as well. So, and it's still boiling hot here, but we're okay. So we're going to do some shout outs just as we start on our love bugs.
So maybe I can do them while you kind of...
Yep, that's absolutely fine.
Is that okay?
Yeah, that's fine, Pat. You go for it. You start shouting out.
So first of all, Amy Chan says hi from Hong Kong. Ooh. And Kate Sagawa says hi, Pauline.
Oh, hello, Kate.
You and Kate both looking good.
Oh.
And Debbie Robson says hello from Newcastle, South Africa.
Oh, great.
And Jacqueline Kramer says hello from the Netherlands.
Wow, everybody from everywhere. It's incredible.
I don't know where Natalie Smith is from, but she says hello.
Hello.
As does Rose Abu. Anita Patel says hi,
Anita.
Paula.
Hello, Anita.
And Mikkel Parks says, I would love the recipe for the Swiss roll. And
Great.
so maybe we can put that up on Facebook
Yep,
later.
that would be lovely. All the recipes, maybe if they're not available already on there, yeah.
And the last one is from Greece, and Nikki is saying hello.
Oh, that's great. Well, hello, and thank you everybody for watching. And as always, we hope that you've had some really good, useful hints and tips. I've just used the large muffin, and all I've done is I've taken off the edges there with the cake knife, and I'm just using a potato peeler or veggie peeler just to smooth it off and smooth it round. And that's given us the shape for our little love bug. So we saw two of them already in pink, and this one's going to be in red. And I'm just going to cut through the middle and scoop out a little bit of the centre, and then we can add in some hearts into the middle there, so that when you cut into these you get a nice little surprise in the middle there. There we go. There we go. So a few of those in there, so that when you open into it, you've got that lovely, lovely surprise there. Just pop that one on top of the other. And then that's ready to go. All I did was smooth just a little bit of buttercream over this, and then we're ready to pipe. I've got red buttercream, used some of that lovely chili red, so if I just take the lid off that, you can see. Actually looks quite orangey, but once you've got it in your buttercream, you get this lovely, vibrant colour going on there. And I'm just going to carry on piping around here. So there we go. It's been sitting in the bag for a little bit of time. And the rest of those other little piped domes are kind of dry, but we're going to add some eyes in there as well. Jan's just having a little clear up again. Thanks, Jan.
Give you a bit more room.
Oh, that's lovely. Whoops, nearly dropped them all. There we go.
Can I do shout outs?
You go for it, Pat. You do the shout outs. Pat's doing shout outs. There we go.
Okay, Diana Medina says hi. Miranda sends you a lovely big happy smiley face.
Oh, isn't that lovely? Thank you.
And Fakara says hi. I'm sorry, I'm never going to get this one right.
Go on, Pat, you can do it. You can do it.
Says hello. And Margaret Lodge says hi from Abu Dhabi.
Oh, that's lovely. That is so nice. And like I say, I hope everybody's, you know, seen some interesting, useful tips. Maybe if we could also slice through that Swiss roll that's been chilling in the fridge, that would be a good one, just as we're kind of finishing off here too. And we've got some googly eyes. Now you can use googly eyes that are ready made, or I've just cut out black circle, popped it onto the top of a white gum paste circle there, and then they can just sit onto there. Now the whole of this little effort is going to go onto a biscuit, and all I did with that, if I bring over my black candy again ready, is I have literally just dunked it in each of the sides and then paint brushed it round. So it gets a bit messy, and you might need to use your palette knife just to kind of like paint that on and over. There we go. Oh, yep, no, that's great. Jan's in clearing up mode. That's lovely, thanks Jan. Give it a little tap, and then just leave that to chill. So pop it into your fridge, and there we go. I think they're attacking my Swiss roll over there.
Yeah.
I see you. Now we're also going to give him some ears as well. Now we've actually got one that needs an extra ear, so I'm just going to go and do that. Grab him over here, and if I just place him next to it, you can see, because I've actually got one already that's going to go into there, because these aren't going to be dry in time. But if you remember, this is the one that we did at the beginning of the show, and that's ready now to cut into. So I'm just going to trim that down using the wire cutters, so hanging onto that side so it doesn't go pinging where you don't want it to. Into the candy, give it a little spin round and a little tap, and it's ready to go. I wipe it over the side. Oh, it's nearly coming away. Just push it back in. Needed a bit longer to set probably, but it's still fine. And that's ready to go. And then we can do a second one. This one's been done ahead of time. So this was done yesterday, so that's nicely set. So I would say just make sure that it is nicely set. Wipe that round there as well. And there we go. And that's ready to go. So I'm just going to pop them onto there to dry. So he will sit onto what will be this little biscuit. There we go. So he's kind of ready, so you can see he's got his little feet where they need to be. Bring him back over this way, he's stuck on there. There we go. And then he's ready to have his little ears in position. So I'll wait till they're dry, but I'm going to add them into this little one, if it'll go in. There we go. So just give him a little push, and that's ready to go. So he just adds to the little family, ready to go. Whisper, whisper, I can hear you all. So, okay, we've got quick run through of everything we've done. We've done some biscuits, which we've kind of used to make a very nice display of biscuits, but also some ideas for, hopefully, antenna for your little love bugs, and also for feet as well. We've done a very yummy cheesecake as well, and some little ladybirds that are sitting on there now, nibbling away at that as we speak. And a Swiss roll, which I think Jan's actually got, and she's just brought it in.
Slice.
Oh, another slice there. So Jan's just started chopping into the Swiss roll. So you can see this is what we were doing. We've got the hearts and the polka dots all the way over there. Thank you, Jan, by the way. So we're just going to do a little bit of a slice through there. Won't do it too thick, just so you can kind of see what we have coming through. So there you go, you've got your heart shape through there. So hopefully you'll have a good time having a go at that, and it just depends on where it is and where you're cutting, etc., and what you see in the middle. Now, I think after all that, we are all absolutely gasping, but famished as well. So do you know what I think we really deserve right now? Because we did everything Peter said we'd do. We were whipping it up, beating it up in the kitchen. Jan, do you fancy tucking into this cheesecake with me?
I would love a piece of that cheese.
And do you know what? I think anybody else next door, maybe Samir, Olivia, Pauline, do you all want to head through? Watch out, everybody, the rabble's heading through. So it just leaves us to say thank you ever so much, everybody, for tuning in. It's been really great to have your company once again. We've had a fantastic time. It's been a bit hot in the kitchen, hasn't it, Jan? But I'll tell you something, well and truly up for this. How about you, Pat? I nearly forgot what on Pat. That's it, I'm out of sacked now. Come on in, Pat, get in here.
I thought you were never going to ask me.
Well, I'm going to get stuck in. Nobody, just dive in.
Just
come on.
Go.
Hurry up, come on, just go for it.
Come on, Olivia.
Yeah, where's Samir? He's too shy. I'm going to go for it. Excuse me.
Oh. That is lovely. Oh,
have fun and enjoy. Whoops.
I've got to have one of those coffee beans.